welcome. Those of you that I don't know, Christina Wilson, I'm the chair of the guidance department. Thank you for coming in person. Hopefully we, return to some of this kind of stuff in the future, because what I think is missing with the video is a chance for you as a parent, who's gone through the process before, to kind of chime in and give yeah, it's kind of that way, but here's something else to consider. And I think that's always been, probably one of the more valuable pieces of the guidance discussion group. So thank you for coming today. Megan Carnavala is going to be here today, and she's going to talk a little bit about our college resources and just my own feeling about our college resources. Everything that we have on our website, I feel, is completely underutilized. Completely. And that's nobody's fault. But I think what we have to do is we have to start earlier. So 9th grade parents need to realize we have this amazing website, and it's probably not going to change that much by the time your child gets to the high school. It has on it everything that's kind of standard form, standard information, that it doesn't matter where you rank in the class, it doesn't matter what your GPA is. You need to know that there are 194 students in the graduating class. It's something that everybody is asked. You have to know that we don't rank. And all that kind of information that's very Byram Hills specific, and it doesn't matter who your child is on our website. And the reason it's there is because for some students, they're going to be doing their application at 9:50 on a Sunday night, and they would really like that information, and I'm not always available, right? Or our counselors are not always available. So whenever it's convenient for a student to start working on that, the information is there. But we find that more often than not, students will email us those questions. They might have to wait, like a 12-hour period, which isn't the end of the world, but it's like when this stuff is here for students and they can access it, the more that they know about it, the more that they know to come to it, or the more in general parents realize, or students realize, let me first stop on the guidance website to see if I can get this question answered. And then if it's nuanced, if it's specific to your child, then those are the times that we really need to set a time to meet and make sure that we have individual interaction. So Megan's going to talk about that in a minute, but I thought along a similar vein, I wanted to talk about our course selection website, because last year we really couldn't have a lot of the meetings, the big kind of theater meetings where we would talk about all of this kind of course selection information. We couldn't have those, so we created a course selection website. And the course selection website is meant to be like a one-stop shop for AP information, AP application information, descriptions about different courses, videos that the chairs have created, like about what Global Scholars is. They're going to hear about Global Scholars, but why not hear a video and see some of the projects that Global Scholars, is doing? So all of that is on our website, so I'm going to show that to you. Okay, so our course selection website, and I got to it right off of the guidance website. So on the main page of Byram Hills, you go to guidance, drop down to the high school, and course selection is there. Okay. This is for last year. We're updating it for this year, so all of the new information, new deadlines, new dates will be on here. Okay. Things on here I want to point out. So this is general information. So what APs can my child choose from? When it's time to enter them in eSchool, what is the process? What are the steps? Who can do it? Can a parent do it? Can a student do it? What are the steps? How does that get entered? All of that is there. We have elective course selection as well. So what are the electives that I could take? This is a curriculum planning chart, and we get asked that a lot. So it's like, okay, my student is in integrated algebra in 9th grade. What's the progression? What will they take in 10th grade? What will they take in 11th grade? All of that is outlined here. Okay. Or what are my child's options? They don't think that they want to do physics, ever. Okay, so what are my other options? All of that is outlined here. A description of all of the courses are in here. We do have 1 or 2 possible courses that are going up for approval this year for students, and we should have that information by mid-December. Any new course that we offer, the chair of department, whoever the department chair is, and the teachers in that department try to spend a little bit of time in classes talking about that new course. So students are aware of it. They know what it's going to look like. We've had some new humanities seminar courses in the English department over the past few years. Dwayne Smith goes in, he talks with the 11th grade students, he lets them know we have this amazing podcasting class. And what's that going to look like? And he kind of gives them a little teaser of what that's going to be like. That would happen in any department and any classes where there might be new courses. And then we also have kind of a course selection, just a video to watch about just the whole process. So what do you need to know? What's kind of like the more important thing? You want to know deadlines. You want to know what's the process. For our students, we're going to be starting academic advising meetings probably next week. So whether you have a 9th grade, 10th grade, or 11th grade student, they can sign up for academic advising meetings with their counselor. Okay, each counselor will probably put the calendar, their appointment calendar link available for students, and they'll say, please sign up to make an appointment. For some students, they're ready to have that conversation now. They want to talk about next year now. For some students, they need a little bit more time. Maybe they'd like to do that in like January or something. But it's really meant for a counselor and a student to sit down and say, what do you really want to accomplish by the time you graduate? How can I help you get there? What are the courses that would make sense for you to be taking to achieve, those goals? And that's what those conversations will look like. It doesn't have to be a one and done. It can happen several times. It can happen now, and it can happen again when the AP process is going on. Okay, or maybe it happens now, it happens when the AP process is going on, and then things shift and change, and maybe again in April or May we have another conference with a student, we talk about that. Okay, but that's the first part of the process. So students feel like they're coming into the new year when we are asking them to make decisions, they feel informed, okay, they feel like they know the courses, and they kind of have somewhat of a pathway that they've plotted out. You might have a child where you're saying, my child doesn't have a pathway. I wish they had a pathway. They don't know what the pathway is. That's fine too. We can kind of just advise them on the options, kind of give them examples of what other students have done, and to see if anything is interesting to students. So that's going to be happening, those meetings, November, December, January, through probably February and March. January 11th is the course assemblies. So what we do is we meet individually. Mr. Walsh puts together a presentation for 9th graders, a separate one for 10th graders, and a separate one for 11th graders. And that's all happening on January 11th. And depending on the grade, students might hear about global scholars, they might hear about science research, they might hear about leadership opportunities, mentor, peer leader, and all of that whole process. From there, they have about a week and a half to enter in their AP course selection into eSchool. The important thing to talk about with that is that sometimes students don't realize that to apply for a course, it's not just about putting it in eSchool. There's also sometimes an application with putting it in eSchool. So let's just say it's AP Stat. Student goes ahead, says, I want to be considered for AP Statistics. They put it in eSchool. They have to now go to the website, and they have to go to math, and they have to see, is there anything else that I need to do? Okay. And you would have to go here, click on the AP application process. And there might be something specific for statistics. There might be something specific for AP Calc AB. Okay, so it's really a two-part process. Some of the APs do not have any additional work other than putting it in eSchool. So that's in January, and that lasts for about a week. And then at the end of February, we start and we have the 9th grade students all choose their electives over a period of time, a period of a week. Then we have the 10th graders choose their electives, and then we have the 11th graders choose their electives. So by mid-March, students have chosen possible AP courses, they've chosen things like Global Scholars or Science Research, and then we have students pick, kind of their elective course offerings, and that really rounds out the course selection process. At that point, we pause, we kind of look at each student's schedule and make sure that they have the right courses, and then we open the portal for you as parents and students to go back in once again and make sure everything looks correct. Okay? So if you haven't had that conversation with your child, like, why do you want to take robotics? What is this investments in market? Or, you can have those conversations and say, is this really the right thing? And when I talked about academic advising meetings, that might be a time that, again, you may want to have another a meeting with the counselor, or your student might want to have another meeting, have another academic advising meeting with their counselor. But we do give you an opportunity to kind of verify that the courses that your child has chosen, you're okay with. Okay. Any questions about that? Of course, at that point, we start building the schedule, and that's kind of on our end. And typically, if we're running into problems, like if we can't make those 2 AP science courses work the way you had talked about, that's kind of a discussion for early June, mid-June. We speak to the student, we say, listen, this is conflicting, this isn't working, but what else can we do? How can we make your schedule right so that going into the summer, the student can feel somewhat comfortable that the courses that they chose are going to work in their schedule. Okay. Any questions about course selection, how that works? Again, my focus here is whether you have a 9th grader or 11th grader to please go to this website. Like I said, we're updating it, but I can tell you that there isn't much that's going to change. So if you just wanted to start going through it now, even though it says 21, 22, you can start to see the different course offerings, you can see the process, and just learn about things and just be a little bit more up to date on the course selection process, so that when your child goes through it, you have that information. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Carnivalla, and she is going to talk with you about college. The intro that I'm going to give are a few stats about college this year. We've hosted over 120 virtual college visits this year. We chose to go virtual, and we think it has allowed us to offer more college visits, which we think is great, and students seem to love it. What they do is they sign up in Naviance for a college that they want to see, and about 10 minutes before, even a half hour before, they receive a link from the college for the virtual college visit. So what this process looks like is the student receives the link from the college, and then they come to the College and Career Center, and on a Promethean board like this, we put the college rep up on the board with the microphone, and all the students are on their laptops muted, and they can chat with the rep in the chat box and ask their questions that way, or they can speak directly into the big microphone for the whole entire for everybody to kind of hear and ask questions, and that's kind of how the meeting is run. The last thing I'm going to tell you is that we have about over 90% of our students as of this Monday, our seniors, over 90% have applied to at least one college or university at this point. So that is right on par with what it typically is in a typical year. If this is considered an atypical year, I don't know, but we're hovering around 92% have submitted at least one application by November 1st. So we certainly have students who are applying all regular or have different circumstances, and we'll be working with those students. So a lot of applications were processed over the 2-month period.
So I'm just going to go through some of the different college counseling resources that we have. The guidance department has actually created a website now where you can access this. To get here, you would honestly just go through the Byram Hills website, go to the guidance page, and there's a link right to the college counseling website. So we put this together, and it has a bunch of different resources for you. Just from the homepage alone, we have Common App tips. We have a link to our application clinic. Application clinic is a time for seniors to come in. It's offered every single day through the month of September and October, Monday through Friday, all different times. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes at lunch, sometimes after school. Just because we know sometimes students don't make it in for office hours, or maybe they're busy during lunch, or they are in a sport or a club after school. So they can access this calendar here. They don't have to go when their counselor is hosting it. We all rotate. But it's a time for them to come and get some of their applications actually done. We encourage them, especially at the beginning of the year, to come in and work on them with us, because they can do things like signing their FERPA waiver and matching it to their Naviance account. They can request their teacher letters of recommendation through Naviance and their transcripts through Naviance. And for parents who have students that are freshmen and sophomores who haven't gotten to this point yet, don't worry, we will go over what the FERPA is and how to do all of that. But it's just another time for students to come in and get some of those little tasks done that need to be done, but kind of sometimes get overlooked. And then the last part over here is a way for students to be able to check the status of their letters of recommendation. So often we see students say they know they requested it, but they don't know if their teacher has submitted it. So we've posted directions for how they can go about checking to make sure that their letters have been submitted. Towards the bottom, we have a couple things. One is our college summer to-do list. This is especially important for juniors. It kind of gives them a plan for what to do over the summer, what to do, July and August to prep for their upcoming senior year. The other piece on here is our junior college night presentation. So although we have it at the end of the month, we also have posted it here. It has a bunch of resources, anything from financial aid to just the types of applications, deadlines, essays, interviews. Everything is posted on here. On a side note, tonight is also the financial aid night. So any student, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, the financial aid process pretty much stays the same. So if you have questions regarding the FAFSA or the CSS profile, tonight would be the presentation for that as well. So now if we go into the next section, is Common App tips. So we've gone through and looked at what students typically have a lot of questions about when they're actually working on their Common App. And we've put the answers to a lot of these questions here. This tends to be the most important section, is the education section. We often get a lot of questions. How big is my class size? What is the GPA scale? Is it weighted or unweighted? So we've posted all the answers to those common questions here. This, again, will be updated each year. So right now it's for the class of 2022, and we'll update it again for next year. And we just posted answers for each of those sections, commonly asked questions right on here. The next tab talks about the application clinic. So this is what we've talked about before, where students can come in and work on the applications, and we've posted the calendar here. So they have access to both September and October, Monday through Friday, and they can see which times it's offered. They don't need to sign up for this. They can just show up. They can stay for as long as they'd like. But it's, again, really great opportunity for them. And then we've also posted some tutorial videos. So if a student does want to start their applications in August, we have a couple of our common questions here.
Audible laugh.
I was going to say, August 1st they open. Sometimes kids are eager to get started. And these are some of the questions that they typically have, again, with the matching of Common App and the FERPA, and matching it to their Naviance accounts. That's something that students tend to struggle with. So we posted a tutorial video here on that. We've also posted videos on how to request their transcripts and how to request their letters of recommendation. Again, they don't have to do this over the summer. This is just here in case they ever want to refer back to it. They can come to application clinic and work on it with us, or they can always set up an appointment with their counselor and work on it then too. And this will also be updated again each year with the correct dates and times. The next tab goes over the different college visits that we host. So we said we had over 120 this year. All students have, when they log in, all the seniors will see under what's new on their Naviance account, it will list every single school that's coming to visit, the time, the rep that's hosting it. So they're able to see that ahead of time. They're able to sign up for it ahead of time. This will just remind them of that and where to look. They have to register ahead of time so we can keep track of attendance. But all of our visits are posted. It is updated pretty much daily throughout the fall, so we encourage them to check it every single day as reps continue to set up times. Next section we're going to talk about is sending test scores. So this is something that a lot of students have had a lot of questions about. There are different ways to send SAT versus ACT scores. So we've posted step-by-step instructions for exactly how to do both. Because they are ordering official test scores, those are being sent directly from the testing agency to the colleges that they are applying to, and they do come with a fee. I believe right now it's about
$12.
$12 for SAT and $16 for ACT.
They raised
Per
the ACT
school. They raised the ACT. It was $13 last year. So we're up to $16 now. Hopefully it doesn't go any higher. While some schools will let you self-report, the majority are now, we're starting to see asking again for those official test scores. So we've posted directions for how to go about sending those scores to each school. And then the last tab on this website, again, has the link to our Prezi for the junior college night. But it also has a PowerPoint that we created. This is a step-by-step guide to the Common App. It has every question on the Common App and the answer to that question. It doesn't have every single school-specific question because there are thousands, but it does have the main part of the Common App. It goes through each section of it and every single question of it. So students have access to this too. They can open it and kind of fill out the main part of their Common App with this presentation. And we do update this every year as well.
Maggie, can you click on the Prezi, the
Sure.
timeline, because that might be useful for parents of 9th grade students, any parent.
We broke down the video, so if you only wanted to watch a piece of the video, like there was a specific part you wanted to go to, we do have the timestamps on the side of it as well. Here's the college planning timeline. And this does start freshman year, so everybody has access to this as well. It'll go through what students should be doing each year of high school in preparation for their senior year.
Yeah, general guidelines, here, sometimes we're asked, like, what can my child do as a 9th grader? What can they do as 10th grader? And I think just some general information. Obviously, this is student-specific, and students might be at different points in this process, but I think this gives a really good idea of what's important in each year to be prepared for the college process. Again, the point in showing you this is to let you know resources are available for students. We threw a lot at you, and certainly somebody would sit down and look at this all at one time, but kind of to drive you here to see if your question can be answered here, or if there's some advice here. If something doesn't seem right, that's when you would follow up with, a time to meet with your counselor, or have a call, or have your child go in and talk about their specific, circumstance. And that's what we really want to have our time to work with students about their specific situation. And, what Megan was describing about, test optional. That's a discussion. We sit down with students and we go kind of line by line through every single one of their colleges and say, okay, I think the best advice for this college is this, and I think it's this way, and we want to have that time. So to have all the general information up here that a student could get like this and doesn't necessarily need to have the interaction with their counselor, we want to provide that for you here and for our students here so that they can have time to have those really in-depth conversations that are very meaningful, and I think really make the process, students feel better about it. I can't tell you how many times they walk out of Megan's office and they go, like they literally are saying underneath their breath, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. Because they feel like, their parents are saying one thing and they're talking it through, but to kind of hear somebody who's dealing with it every single day is really important, and we want to make sure that our students have time to meet with their counselors. I just wanted to reiterate that there is a financial aid night tonight. Mary Lawyer has been in this business forever. It's more than just financial aid. She talks a lot about return on investment. She talks a lot about the admissions process because she also is the VP for enrollment management, which is basically admissions. And she really gives, I think, parents a very good indication of how financial aid, merit, alumni, and different, what the college wants to kind of promote in a given year is all tied into financial aid. It's all tied into admissions. So she's a phenomenal person. I've never seen her be asked a question that she does not know the answer to, and she's really been in the business for a long time. So she's wonderful. We have her every year, so if you miss her this year, you can see her next year, but her presentation, her slides will be sent out to all parents after the meeting. And I know that she's going to take emails from parents too, so that's great. And we'll see you in January. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you.